My name is David. I am 32 years old. I live in New York City. I work at a tech company. I earn $95,000 a year. I have a nice apartment. I have a good life. But I also have a secret that fills me with shame every single day. I left my mother behind. 10 years ago, I lived in the Philippines, in a small village called San Miguel. My family was poor, very poor. My father died when I was 15. After that, it was just my mother and me. My mother's name is Rosa. She worked as a seamstress. She sewed clothes for people in the village. She earned very little money, maybe $3 a day, sometimes less. But she had a dream for me. She wanted me to have a better life, a life she never had. When I was 22 years old, I got a job opportunity in America. A company wanted to hire me as a software developer. It was my chance, my only chance to escape poverty. I was so excited, but my mother was scared. She said, "David, America is so far away. Will you come back?" I held her hands. I looked into her eyes. I said, "Mama, I promise. I will work hard, I will save money, and I will bring you to America. We will live together. I will take care of you. Just wait for me. 1 year, maybe 2 years, then I will bring you." She cried, but she smiled through her tears. She said, "Okay, Anak, I will wait. I will wait for you." That was 10 years ago. The first year in America was hard, very hard. I worked long hours. I lived in a small room with 3 other people. I saved every dollar I could. I called my mother every week. She always asked, "When will you bring me, Anak?" I said, "Soon, Mama. Maybe next year. I need to save more money first." She said, "Okay, I will wait." The second year, I got a promotion. I earned more money. I moved to a better apartment. I started making friends. I started going out on weekends. I still called my mother, but not every week anymore, maybe twice a month. She still asked, "When will you bring me?" I said, "Soon, Mama, but the paperwork is complicated. It takes time." She said, "I understand. I will wait." The third year, I met a girl. Her name was Emily. She was American, smart, beautiful. We fell in love. I spent all my free time with her. I called my mother once a month now. Sometimes I forgot to call. She still asked, "When will you bring me?" I said, "Maybe next year, Mama. I'm very busy with work right now." She said quietly, "Okay, Anak, I will wait." Years passed. 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. I got promoted again. I bought a car. I moved to a bigger apartment in Manhattan. Emily and I got engaged. We planned a big wedding. I called my mother to tell her about the engagement. She was happy for me. But then she asked, "Will you bring me to the wedding?" I hesitated. I said, "Mama, it's expensive to fly you here, and the wedding is small, just close friends. Maybe after the wedding I will bring you." There was silence on the phone. Then she said softly, "Okay, David, I will wait." 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. I got married. I bought a house. Emily and I had a baby, a son. We named him Lucas. My mother asked, "When can I meet my grandson?" I said, "Soon, Mama, when he's a little older, when we have time." She said, "I'm getting old, David. I want to hold him." I said, "I know, Mama. Soon, I promise." But I was always busy. Work, family, life. I sent her money every month, $500. I thought that was enough. I thought money could replace my presence. I was wrong. Last month, I got a phone call. It was my cousin, Maria, from the Philippines. She was crying. She said, David, you need to come home. Your mother is very sick. She's in the hospital. My heart stopped. I said, "What happened?" Maria said, "She had a stroke. The doctors say she might not have much time." I booked the first flight to the Philippines. I flew for 24 hours. I didn't sleep. I just prayed. When I arrived at the hospital, I ran to her room. She was lying in the bed. She looked so small, so fragile. Her hair was completely white now. Her face was thin. She had tubes connected to her arms. I sat beside her. I held her hand. I whispered, "Mama, I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Her eyes opened slowly. She looked at me. She tried to smile. She whispered, "David, you came." I started crying. I said, "Yes, Mama, I'm here. I should have come sooner. I'm so sorry." She squeezed my hand weakly. She said, "I waited for you. I waited so long." Those words broke my heart into a million pieces. Maria took me to my mother's house after visiting hours, the house I grew up in, the small wooden house with 2 rooms. When I walked inside, I couldn't believe what I saw. Everything was exactly the same. Nothing had changed in 10 years. My old bed was still there, my old books, my old photos on the wall. But there was something new. On the small table near the window, there was a stack of papers. I walked closer. They were flight itineraries, dozens of them, printed out from the internet. Flights from Manila to New York, different dates, different airlines, different prices. My mother had been looking at flights for years, planning her trip to see me, hoping I would send her a ticket. But I never did. Maria said quietly, she printed those every few months. She would show them to neighbors and say, "My son will bring me soon. I just need to be ready." I collapsed into a chair. I covered my face with my hands. I sobbed. Maria continued, "She never complained, David. She told everyone how successful you are, how happy you are in America. She never said a bad word about you." I said through my tears, "She should have. She should have been angry at me. I abandoned her." Maria put her hand on my shoulder. She wasn't angry. She just waited. Every day, she waited. I stayed in the Philippines for 2 weeks. I spent every day at the hospital, holding my mother's hand, talking to her, telling her about Lucas, about my life, about everything I should have told her years ago. She couldn't speak much anymore, but she would squeeze my hand. She would smile, and sometimes she would whisper, "I'm happy you're here." On the last day, I told her, "Mama, when you get better, you're coming to America with me. I'm not leaving you again. We're going home together." She looked at me with tired eyes. She said softly, "David, I'm already home. You were my home. I just wanted to be near you." Those were her last words to me. She passed away that evening, peacefully, with me holding her hand. At her funeral, I saw something that broke me even more. My cousin showed me my mother's phone. She had set a daily reminder on it. Every single day for 10 years, the reminder said, "David will call today." Even when I didn't call, she kept hoping. I also found letters she wrote to me but never sent, dozens of them. In the letters, she wrote about her daily life, about missing me, about how proud she was of me. In one letter, she wrote, "I know you're busy, Anak. I understand. I don't want to bother you, but I miss you so much. I look at your photo every night before I sleep. I pray for you every day. I'm still waiting. I will always wait." I brought my mother's ashes back to America. I keep them in my home. Every day I look at her photo. Every day I say, I'm sorry, Mama. I tell Lucas about his grandmother, about how strong she was, how patient she was, how much she loved me. And I made myself a promise I should have kept 10 years ago. I will never take the people I love for granted. I will never be too busy for family. I will never make someone wait when I have the power to be there. My mother waited for me for 10 years. She waited faithfully, patiently, without anger, without complaints, and I made her wait until it was too late. If you have parents, grandparents, or anyone who loves you waiting for your time, your call, your visit, don't make them wait. Don't make my mistake. Because one day they will stop waiting, not because they gave up, but because they're gone. And you'll spend the rest of your life wishing you had just one more day with them. She waited for me, and I will regret that for the rest of my life. Thank you for listening to this story. If you liked it, please like the video, share it, and subscribe to the Story Reading in English channel. Your support helps more stories reach people like you. With every story, our English gets better, and our hearts get stronger.